Bases dropped from the road. Welcome to Columbus, Georgia, and welcome to a Friday here on SDH. So, of course, since it is Friday, that means we have to do this.
Come on, man.
Ants! Ants!
Go for it, dude.
It's Friday! Friday! Day.
Most certainly it is. All right. So the reason that we're early this morning is because it is that time of year where things kind of blend together. And it is one of those days where I have to be at a high school to do high school stuff. And so figured I would push the show up about a half hour so I can leave the hotel. And if I look to my left, I can see the Chattahoochee River because I'm on the Phoenix City side and get to see downtown Columbus over here. So I get to go and be about 9 different people today, starting off with you guys here, then signing off at 10:30. We'll do our two hours, and we'll get through the rundown here in just a little bit. Then go to the site for the shoot for an upcoming segment on the high school football Fridays in Georgia on GPB, and then head home. So upload speeds might be a little slow today. So posting the show to the app might take a little while. Just I beg your forbearance and your patience with that. And so the segments will be up later today, probably this afternoon at some point. And they'll also, for those of you that watch the TV side on the Fired Up Network, and however you catch us video-wise, if it's on YouTube, going to be a little later because of having to be in about 9 different places at once. And thanks to everybody who has joined us early this morning to be a part of everything. Here's the rundown. 9 o'clock, Bart Keeler is going to join us. And Bart is going to discuss the new Secretary of Defense to help out the U.S. Women's National Team. We'll talk about the gold medal match. We'll talk about what we've seen from Emma Hayes so far, about suffering and getting into a championship game and getting into a gold medal match. Then, let's see, we'll check and see if our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring can join us at 9:30. And then the 10 o'clock half hour, we're going to spend on the UPSL last four. Jason is on his way to Pittsburgh, and you can catch the UPSL last four semifinals today, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock on BN Sports. And then the championship game in Pittsburgh at Highmark on Sunday. So if you do not have BN, you can get BN through Fanati's, fntz.co/soccer down here. And you get all the BNs. You get Teise, CDO, Nuestra Tele, our buddy Nino Torres at Gold TV, For the Fans, Liga One Max, all of it. You can get it at Fanati's, and you get to hang out there with all of them. And you get to watch 4 teams chasing after a title in the UPSL. At 10 o'clock, we're going to catch up with one of the 2 sides that is going to be playing later today. All the teams are in Pittsburgh, as far as I know, and are ready for the last 4 in the UPSL. We're going to catch up with Coach Oswaldo Moreno from Inland Empire FC. They're going to be on at 10 o'clock, and then after that, it is Rory Charcola, the head coach for Rochester NYFC. We'll catch up with him after we catch up with Coach Moreno. Those are 2 of the 4 teams. The other 2 are Dodge City Toros, and it is Soda City. And so they'll be on at 10 o'clock, and we'll finish up from 10 to 10:30 on everything with the UPSL. Jarrett joining us early this morning. Jarrett, good morning from Columbus, Georgia.
Good morning from Woodstock, Georgia, East Marietta. I don't know, man. Whatever. School's back in session. I get my afternoons. I get my midday and my afternoons back. I'm a free man.
There you go.
This is magical.
No, but yeah. So I was breaking the rundown down for folks today, and Bart's going to join us at 9 o'clock, and we'll see if our friends from Beyond Goals can join us at 9:30, and then at 10 o'clock, from 10 to 10:30, we'll talk UPSL and get everybody ready for the last 4 in Pittsburgh. No word on whether or not Bob Lilly's going to be yelling at teams that he does not coach for an entire weekend. So
Bob might be busy. I mean, I think Riverhounds might have a game. So
yeah, they can't be at 2 places at once. So
you don't challenge him like that. That's your
I know. So you challenge a man and you see what happens. Like I said, we'll save the USMNT talk with Mauricio Pochettino, Patrick Vieira, all the gold medal stuff. We'll save that for Bart at 9:00. I wanted to get into, before we got to Bart, stuff going on in Major League Soccer, and specifically the abject drunkenness that was Leagues Cup yesterday. And I mean, if you were watching early, and I guess this is opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. If you caught the early match yesterday, and there are 10 matches today, by the way, and we'll go through juice boxes, I guess, at some point. But yesterday, it was Messi and friends. So it was and friends, and Messi was watching, going up against Toronto FC. And at some point, you just kind of run out of adjectives when you're looking at a match like that. And if you saw the first 45 minutes, it was about 9 different ways worth of stupid down in South Florida, and it continued to be stupid over 90 minutes. But yeah, it was just nuts.
I told you before. Somebody made a deal with the devil in the MLS offices to encourage these Leagues Cup games to just completely get out of hand.
Yeah.
Because they did, and they all. The impressive thing about it is all the Leagues Cup games are out of hand in completely different ways. What I mean by that is 10 goals in the first half, 7 goals over 90 minutes, including a red card.
Yes.
However, later in the night, San Jose took the chain off their bike and proceeded to beat Necaxa to death with it.
Yes, that is absolutely true.
I'm kind of on board now of San Jose is going to do the Nashville, which is really crappy regular season team who inexplicably decides to just start collecting scalps in the Leagues Cup. Nashville did it last year. Nashville struggled coming into Leagues Cup, made it to the final, and made it to a shootout in the final with Messi. And then after that, the carriage turned back into a pumpkin for the rest of the regular season. So, what the hell?
Yes.
San Jose, I guess you're the one that, and it's honestly, it's the kind of run I was hoping you'd get from Atlanta, but they spit the bit in both home games, clearly. But this is what I'm talking about whenever we have this conversation of this is why cup competitions are fun, because someone who has no business doing this is capable of doing it. The thing is, if your philosophy is, well, my team sucks and they'll never be that. They'll never, like, it's pointless for them to play games because they'll never make a run like that. Like, dude, I promise you, San Jose is a worse team this year. And they just beat Necaxa to death.
Yes.
They got out of their group. They just beat the team that, like, Ryan Reynolds is going to hold a vendetta over San Jose now. He might try and move the club out of spite. I don't know. I don't know if they can handle having another team moved. I don't know if San Jose could handle being the Thrashers of MLS.
Oh, boy.
But be that as it may, this is what's fun about cup competitions is when somebody just, like, gets off the couch and just decides to go start beating people up.
Yes. And so you look at the matches last night, and to for those that didn't get the chance to see the breakdown of what happened with Miami and Toronto, to Jarrett's point, it was a 5-goal first half, and you had a red card. So Rojas scores in the third. Diego Gomez is scoring, and so the folks at Brighton are obviously going to be pleased about this. And it's 2-0 after 11 minutes. Insigne
felt like a replay of last year when Atlanta went down there and looked completely unprepared and awestruck by Messi.
Yes. And so 2-0 for and friends. Then Insigne gets a PK in the 15th to make it 2-1. Bernardeschi gets subbed off in the 18th minute. And so that might be something that the folks in Toronto are going to have to keep an eye on for the next couple of weeks. Suarez scores in the 20th to make it 3-1. Then Henry Martinez gets a red in the 28th. Okay. Then Insigne gets a PK in the 41st to make it 3-2. No word on whether or not Richie Larea fell down to get his yellow card in the 43rd, but nevertheless, it was 3-2 at the break. Tata Martino, down a man, decides to do some subs, understandably so. So he subs for Bright. Julian Gressel doesn't make it into the second 45. Rojas scores in the 59th, so with 30 to go, it's 4-2. Then a Noah Allen own goal was how it was registered, made it 4-3 with 10 to go. Then Tata has a fire wagon change with 10 to go, bringing in Kremoski, Campana, and Ruiz. And it should have been 5 with a horrible turnover and a chance. And I think that Kremoski ended up hanging on to the ball just a little bit too long, and he got an earful from a bunch of folks about it. So you end up with 4-3 final there after 3-2 and a red in the first 45 minutes. So you end up with that one there. The other ones that were calm, the in-between matches. So you had chaos early and chaos late, and you had a relative calm by comparison in the in-betweens. Tigres and Pachuca at Q2. We figured this one was going to be a good knockdown, drag-out fight. 1-0 Tigres with the win. Seattle, I think, in the shock of the night, other than, one of the shocks of the night. Let me rephrase. One of the shocks of the night. You mentioned San Jose, and so you end up with Leagues Cup after dark. Jarrett mentions the 5-0 win over Necaxa. We'll go over the scoring in detail in a bit. But Seattle takes LA out back, and LAG is gone from the tournament, losing 3-1 to Seattle. Seattle scored early, jumped on LAG. LAG is gone, so you will not have an El Trafico further down the brackets. And Seattle advances, and then Jarrett mentioned San Jose.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was like Paintsill scoring late. It wasn't even like close. It was like just a consolation goal from the Galaxy.
Yeah. And so for San Jose, and I mean, this one was over. I don't know how well I have to expand the word over to say that it was over early. Jackson Ewell in the 5th, Lopez in the 17th, Abobasi a natural brace, 2 goals in 6 minutes. So after 35 minutes, it's 4-0. Then Necaxa, with Montes getting a red just before the end of the first half, they're playing with 10. They get to the break. Doesn't matter. Then Marie gets a goal in the 88th. 5-0, and it looked easy for San Jose in this one. Taking Necaxa, who was a lower seed in this tournament, nevertheless, taking them out back and reminding them, okay, you're on the road. And San Jose, I don't know, wherever San Jose did leading into that match, where they ate, what they did, how long they slept, whatever. They're going to have to remember that for the next go-round when it comes to what you're staring at. And so you've got all of these matchups tonight that are going to get us to the round of 16. So you look at it, FC Cincinnati and Santos Laguna, pause. Aaron Bupenza, now that we're talking about FC Cincinnati. Aaron Bupenza became a name attached to a league-wide email yesterday, and a league-wide press release. Aaron Bupenza's contract from Major League Soccer was wadded up and put in file 13. And for the longest time, everyone was wondering, okay, what's up with Aaron Bupenza? He's not playing. And you have, word coming out of Cincinnati. It's just, he's just not feeling well, or, he's just not game ready or whatever. Wasn't at practice. And so we find out through local sourcing that Aaron Bupenza was like hanging out with the nightlife in Cincinnati. He was nowhere close to practice, nowhere close to being anywhere active with FC Cincinnati. And so yesterday afternoon, listed in the transfer tracker for Major League Soccer, transfer tracker status, : italics, contract termination. Major League Soccer has terminated the contract of FC Cincinnati forward Aaron Bupenza effective immediately, and so the move opens up a DP spot for FC Cincinnati. And so now, once again, you have 5 days remaining to figure out if you want to fill anything with Aaron Bupenza's now vacant DP slot for FC Cincinnati. And remember, he came from Al-Shabaab. After Brenner went to Udinese, Bupenza comes in, and now we have this. You got Kelsey, Kubo, Baird, Santos, and Dottie Valenzuela. So I don't think you're really worried about the forward position at Cincinnati, but obviously now, Jarrett, Aaron Bupenza's contract terminated. You're terminated. And so he's back to doing what he was doing, just not officially with FC Cincinnati.
And yes, Dell, he is the one who decided to throw hands with the boxer and allegedly got his jaw broken.
At a pizza joint after 1 a.m.
Yeah, nothing good happens after 1 a.m. Don't go places after 1 a.m. Go home. Go be with your family. If you don't have a family, then just go home.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, please don't do that.
Yes.
But yeah, allegedly he's the one who threw hands with a boxer and got punched in the face. And
yes.
Yeah. Just I'm interested to know if there's more to this, because when the league is straight up voiding that contract, like when they're terminating the contract, as opposed to making Cincinnati use a buyout, something happened. I don't know if it's just that. I don't know if he hit like the potpourri and hit bingo on having a bunch of things to violate moral clauses or whatever the hell he did. I know that people in Minnesota are going to feel a certain way about this. Minnesota went to the trouble of like finding a move for Reynoso, despite all his issues. Cincinnati did not here. Cincinnati just straight up terminated him. So maybe it's super bad blood. Maybe he's just toxic and no one wants to touch him right now. It could be a lot of things. There's processes that may have been undergone here. It could be a lot. It's kind of a weird situation, man, and I don't blame like Minnesota fans. They're a little salty about it because I'm sure a lot of people would have loved to have seen some of contracts get completely dropped, but I don't know what it was, or if it was something a bot, or if it was something weird or new that he did. But as always, we are left wondering and asking questions because MLS has the transparency of aluminum siding.
Yes, that is true. Absolutely true. So, morning, Alex. But yeah, we obviously now have more questions than answers, and we'll be paying attention to our friend Laurel Failer and the folks at the Inquirer and seeing if they have any more details. But yes, Aaron Bupenza was the one who was hanging out at a pizza joint after midnight, 1 a.m., and decided to throw hands. And that was as the old guard in the Indiana Jones movie said to Indy and the other individuals who went in looking for the Holy Grail, he chose poorly. So Aaron Bupenza.
That was the old Knights Templar.
Yeah,
was still hanging around.
Yes, the old Knights Templar, basically along the lines of Aaron Bupenza, he chose poorly. Morning Ropes, we are saving. Yes.
That's coming up.
Yes, we are saving that for Bart when he comes in 10 minutes to discuss things. And so Bart has decided to hop out of the real world this morning and come and hang out with us to discuss things. And so we'll have that. In Leagues Cup, by the way, all the matches tonight, literally there are 10. Cincinnati, Santos Laguna, Columbus and Sporting Kansas City, DC and our friends at the Kraken. Hang on, do we know where this match actually is? Do we have it official that Audi Field is an acceptable location?
It might be now. So it's been over a week. It might be now. They had some events there before what would have been the DC Santos game. I don't know the shape of the field now, but I will give like the grounds crew the benefit of the doubt, because I know they had to like schedules. The schedules got really congested on that surface, and weird stuff happens.
It is
Yeah,
officially official, by the way. Staring at the DC United Twitter account,
it's at Audi.
it's next match Audi Field, so it is official.
Yeah, so I mean, whatever their field went through for the Santos game, in the lead up to it, it's probably done and fixed. The end.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's one of those things. This is this is Occam's razor of what went wrong. Well, oftentimes the simplest answer will be the right one.
Yes. And Del, to your point about DC getting the rain from Debbie, as I have the Weather Channel up above my head here in the hotel, Earth Cam, Washington, D.C., and there is water on the lens. So 35 plus million people are under a flood watch along the East Coast, and it would not surprise me if the folks in D.C. are part of it. Rain has cleared D.C. for your weather report, and apparently it's raining rather heavily in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, your capital of the state of Pennsylvania. So, I would anticipate that the grounds crew will be challenged tonight with DC and Mazatlan. Revs and NYC are at Gillette. The Purple Team and Cruz Azul are in Orlando. Philadelphia and Montreal are at Subaru Park. That one is at 7:30. Season Pass has Cincinnati, Santos Laguna. Free side of Apple TV has Columbus and KC. Because of, we are extrapolating here. DC and Mazatlan, according to the league website, has no TV plans, but I'm guessing now because it is at Audi Field that you'll have TV plans of some description. Free side of Apple TV for New England and NYC. Season pass for Purple Team and Cruz Azul. Free side of Apple TV for Philadelphia and Montreal. 8:30, all caps and Portland. No TV plan disclosed currently. Toluca and Houston is at Hell in a Shell. That is at 8:30. 9:30, FC Juarez in Colorado at Dick's Sporting Goods Park in Commerce City. And at 10 o'clock on the free side of Apple TV and Univision and FS1. The late game is Club America and Atlas, and that one is at Snapdragon. I will be intrigued to see what the crowd is for that one at Snapdragon, see how full the building is, and see how hot the crowd's going to be for the Leagues Cup After Dark involving two Liga MX sides. So looking forward to seeing 10 matches tonight in Leagues Cup. And since we're here, we'll go ahead and take a look at the juice boxes and see just how warped the juice boxes are here when it comes to our friends at Odds Portal and the let's see. So we go football, and this is what happens when you're trying to do things on the fly. Literally, it's just like, all right, what country? Where am I going? What am I looking at? So we'll end up with all of that. Let me go down and let me slide down to United States. Of course, it's done in alphabetical order, so I have to come all the way down here to USA. And that's right. No, it's a North and Central America competition. That's right. According to Odds Portal, it's a North and Central America competition. Okay. So juice boxes tonight for Leagues Cup. Crew, a big favorite. No surprise at a minus 213 hosting Sporting. DC, a slight favorite tonight at a minus 123 going up against Mazatlan, who's north of plus 3.25. FC Cincinnati, big favorite at home against Santos Laguna at a minus 222. NYCFC is favored at home at a plus 110. NYCFC is favored on the road at a plus 110, going to Gillette to take on the Revs. Purple Team is an underdog at home against Cruz Azul. Cruz Azul is a plus 144. Purple Team is a plus 172. Philadelphia, favored at home tonight against CF Montreal at a minus 149. CF Montreal north of plus 350. All caps favored at home slightly to Portland. They are a plus 143 at City Park going up against the Timbers, who are a plus 156. Toluca favored in Houston against the Dynamo at a plus 141. Dynamo are a plus 173. Colorado at home as the road team, minus 102, taking on FC Juarez, who are a plus 238. And Club America at Snapdragon is a minus 127, hosting Atlas. Atlas is north of plus 335, and your draw is a plus 260. So those are your juice boxes tonight, and it is Yeah, and to Alex's point, and we were looking at the numbers. Alex, the Leagues Cup crowds have been sparse, and you look at it and you go, yeah. And to Dell's question, Dell was wondering why, because it isn't included in season tickets. In the case of Atlanta United, the first match in the group stage was. And then as a season ticket holder, and Michael Head and others can vouch for this, you can opt in to get tickets for the second match in the group stage. So season ticket holder, you got the first one. You could opt in to get tickets for the second. And then I guess you're on your own as we're now in the knockouts, and you're having to go by point of purchase. And it's like, yes, I'm interested. And then you end up going. So that's why the crowds have been sparse. The numbers that are posted, Dell, have been ticket sales, not butts in seats. To Alex's point, if you go and watch most of the action, you're seeing a lot of empty seats. And Alex is saying either people don't understand it or people are rejecting it. And I think that both could be true. I think that if you are frustrated with your club and they are not performing well in Major League Soccer, then the desire for you, if they make it into the knockouts, which is where we are now. Morning, Harry. If we make it into the knockouts, then you're like, man, I'm just not hip to it. And so you're kind of saving your money and you're not going. And also to Alex's point about people not understanding Leagues Cup, it's like, okay, what kind of a competition is it? Why is this a competition that I should give an ish about? And at the end of the day, if you win, you get into CONCACAF Champions Cup, the Triple C. I'm just so used to saying CCL, but you end up getting a space in the CONCACAF tournament if you proceed through and win. And to Jarrett's point, with with San Jose, you could end up with a club that has this kind of a run, and they make a run for the ages, and they end up going in, and you finish up, and you end up with a team that is dead blanking last in Major League Soccer that could, like Nashville last year, make a run to the end, have a chance to do the Triple C, and give your fans something to stare at. And Alex is saying that he's not giving an opinion, just pointing out that the league really needs to do a postmortem on this to figure that out. And you're staring at, well, and Dell, I don't know if Don Garber is crying himself to sleep, because it's part of a TV deal. And what the way that we look at it, for the most part here, we'll go over the bracket in just a sec before Bart joins us in a couple of minutes. It's a television program on Apple TV. It is a television episodic, no different than Shrinking, no different than Ted Lasso, no different than any of the other shows that you may watch on Apple TV. It is TV inventory. It just happens to be sports. And I think that what Apple is doing is they are using Major League Soccer and Leagues Cup and everything else that they broadcast as a litmus test about how to produce television programming in case they want to chase after the Premier League, in case they want to chase after Champions League, in case they want to chase after all these kinds of things. So I think that this is a litmus test for Apple TV to have this episodic that is titled Leagues Cup that has however many matches are attached to it to see where we are. Round of 32, we've gone through all those matchups. Low left in the West is where we have advanced, folks. Seattle takes on Pumas. Low left and LAFC will take on San Jose in the next round on the 12th and the 13th, respectively. Messi and friends have advanced. They are going to play the winner of Columbus and Sporting. Tigres advances, and they'll play the winner of New England and NYC. No date has been determined yet. Round of 16, once again, the 12th and the 13th. And so that's where we are with that. And Dell, I'm right there with you. I want both to exist. And I think that there's a way to have Leagues Cup and Open Cup exist. I think that you have to look at your roster rules. I think that you have to be flexible about it and make sure that, if a team wants to have the option to have a lot of folks come in and you expand your roster size. You expand the idea, maybe like what the NBA does. And instead of putting limitations on how many times you can call up a player and use that player, it's like, look, it's a separate tournament. if you want to have a roster size of 25, and then you can have 25 to choose from, some from second team, some from academy, some whatever, you have that roster flexibility. That's what I think would be a key to all of this. With all of these tournaments, with all of these television episodics that are here, plus the Major League Soccer season, widen your roster rules a little bit. Make sure that you're not burning your main roster out, your first team out, by having them be locked into a process where it is Leagues Cup or it is MLS or one or the other or the other. I think if you expand your rosters and the roster eligibilities to where everything is looser when it comes to what you can choose from, I think that you can have a better time in making sure that you can fit in all these tournaments. All right. It's after 9 o'clock, and I apologize. So Bart is here, and we raise the trumpets, and we give all of the huzzahs and how do you do's for Bart. What's the mug this morning, sir?
Wicked.
Okay, so let me
There you
ask
go.
you this. There we go. Let me ask you this. You have to put in front of you with your
Yeah.
Legoed stadium behind you.
My AI designed Lego stadium, yes.
So let me, what you've got to do. Let me ask you.
Yes, I think Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande will be good in November in the Wicked
Thank
movie.
You
Okay.
see, how long have we known each other where you knew where I was going with the one question? You knew exactly what I was going to do there. I am I am a little wary, shall we say, of the. I have no doubt that the singing and the musical numbers will crush it. I'm just wary of the movie in and of itself and how much it may stray from what we're used to seeing from the stage presentation. That is my concern.
It's a fair concern. That seems to be something that happens a lot with movie musicals. Les Mis was not quite as far off, but you definitely got a change of things and added things that weren't great. Beauty and the Beast, that live action, despite the singing being horrific for a certain character, also kind of strayed from the movie, or the original. So we'll see. I'm excited to hear the singing and the dancing and all that. So I think it'll be fine.
All right. A couple of reasons that I wanted to bring you in this morning, and we have space so we can breathe. It's okay. I wanted to discuss what's going on with the men's national team. I wanted to discuss about both national teams, frankly, with what we're seeing with the team chasing after a gold medal. And now we have names that are being introduced into the public sphere for the opening for the men's national team.
Mm-hmm.
I guess because of the immediacy of the gold medal, we'll start there. Have you purchased your Secretary of Defense Naomi Girma t-shirt yet?
I have not, but I think there are more than one players on this team that probably deserve that title. Alyssa Nair still has conceded one goal, 2 goals throughout this tournament. She's had 3 clean sheets, 2 in the knockout rounds. She has been integral to the U.S. women's success this year specifically. I mean, got multiple penalty kick shootout wins this year. But Girma has been, I think this is the tournament. Granted, I think if you didn't see this back in last summer, then you weren't paying attention. But I think this tournament specifically has shown how great she is on the world stage. And I think it's shown for me that she is so comfortable in her role with the U.S. women's national team as not just a great defender, but a leader of the back line and a leader of the team. She's clearly the vice captain behind Lindsey Horan. She's clearly a vocal leader on the field. But I think as any leader has to do, they also lead by example. She sets a fantastic tone and work ethic, as well as being supremely talented. And she has really, I think, captured the hearts of a lot of people this tournament. And I'm happy for her.
So when you look at the defense that we've seen here and the Emma Hayes philosophy and in past visits, we have said we have somewhat stipulated that her approach is somewhat Berhalterian, for lack to create an adjective. 3GB-ish, I guess, probably might be a shorter adjective, so folks can sit there and go, "What in the hell is Nelson talking about?" The substitution pattern or lack thereof might be a bit of a concern because of midweek weekend, 2 days rest. You've got to go again, all this kind of stuff. Right now, when you look at what Emma Hayes has accomplished with this roster, is it just to the point where it's like, look, just put your head down, get through this stuff, and now that we're in the last match of this tournament, I'll see what the physios are telling me, and we'll go from there? How are you envisioning? I'm not anticipating any roster changes or starting 11 changes or anything like that, but is this one where you're a little more manageable in your minutes and things? If somebody's gassed, are you hoping that they push through it? Are you quicker to sub in a gold medal match in this kind of a situation? What are you looking at here?
Well, first off, I think to call it Berhalterian is rude to Emma Hayes because she actually has a plan, and her reason behind this does deal with wanting to get that first team, the preferred 11, as many reps together as possible. Now, again, as we've talked about, I still think she could have subbed a little bit earlier, but I think when you look at this team right now, you have finally a team that's fully healthy. Jaden Shaw coming back in. Hopefully she's back to full health. That was kind of a weird thing at the beginning. Tiana Davidson, we'll see. She should be fine, but she should come off at halftime. Hopefully she can go more than 45 minutes in the final. But for the most part, you have the health that you should want for a final, and you shouldn't need to hold off from making subs. So I thought we saw some more subs last game. She definitely subbed not just earlier, obviously Roosevelt coming off in regulation, but she subbed more frequently. I think we'll see that in the gold medal match. Also, remember, John, they had a full actual day of rest. They weren't just traveling and practicing.
A full
They had a
actual day of rest, he says.
They were able to have not just a travel day, but also a rest day. And a region day and a training day because in between the semifinal and the final. So that in itself is good and should lend to a slightly better performance overall. And don't pretend like Brazil hasn't also been involved in very intense matches during this tournament. And they have a not as deep bench as the U.S. women. But no, I'm not super concerned about Emma subbing or not subbing in this final. I also feel like if you're the U.S. women, the goal is pretty clear. Something you weren't able to do against Japan and Germany, but you had chances to, is you just need to put the ball in the back of the net early. You created chances early on in both games, but the ball has to go inside the rectangle thing. And if you do that, especially go against Brazil, who has been incredible at finding goals and finding ways for you to give them a goal. If you put that ball, if you score early, the sub thing kind of takes care of itself.
True. Jarrett Smith returns. Jarrett for Bart as we're discussing the women's national team taking on Brazil in the gold medal match in Paris.
Well, what have you discussed already? I want to ask Bart the same question twice.
The substitution pattern or lack thereof. And what else have we talked about, Bart? We talked about Wicked the movie.
Oh, God, that's coming out. Oh, God. I'll have to see that. I'll have to make time for that one. Okay, let's talk about something less fun, the men's team, in general, because they're not competing for medals. But we got coach rumors, Bart. What are your thoughts?
I think again we're seeing that U.S. Soccer at least is willing to talk to big name coaches. I will say that my concern with any coach that has been leaked, and even some of the coaches that I put forward as guys I would want to manage, is they don't have international managing experience. So Pochettino, Matarazzo, these are guys who probably decent coaches, but do not have that international management experience. which gives me a little bit of pause. But overall, you can't hate the fact that U.S. Soccer is going out and talking to coaches of this name, of this caliber, especially if it's Pochettino, who seems to be a rumor. I don't know. I don't know how much truth there is actually to the rumor. But that type of name is just good to see, and I think that in itself is a positive from U.S. Soccer. Now, the flip side of that is I'm a little annoyed that they're telling us that they're not going to have a coach by September, because the problem is you don't have a whole lot of windows before the World Cup in 2026, and I don't think you can afford to just miss one, especially when this team got knocked out in June 1st or July 1st. You've gone a whole month since you were eliminated, almost a full month since you fired Greg. I'm a little concerned that it's taking longer than it should to get a coach in place. And I think September 7th, is what, 28 days away, 29 days away. I think it's a little foolish for U.S. Soccer to not. Yeah, there's 31 days in August, so I guess that's math. I didn't go to school for math, John. I am concerned that missing that September window will be a problem. I know you have October. You'll probably put a November. You got the November window for. Now I'm blanking. Leagues, Nations League. Gosh, I was about to call it Leagues Cup. I'm like, that's not what it is. The other made-up CONCACAF tournament. So you've got the November Nations League tournament, which is really truly competitive, and you cannot mess that up because it is a home and home quarterfinal tie, and you need to be in the finals come next March. So a coach only having really one window to put a system in and then having to do it in a competitive aspect is a little concerning to me. But again, I think the positive is they're talking to big name coaches.
When you have these kinds of names, Dell is of the point of view that Matarazzo used the USMNT as a part of.
That's going to be true for any coaching search.
Then, it sounds like obviously you're lacking patience when it comes to naming names. You like the idea that you're bringing in guys like Vieira and Pochettino into the discussion.
Yes.
I don't think there will be an issue with paying them, much like the tenured professorship that we have with Canada Soccer, as you call it. But
I do think there might be a little bit of sponsorship money coming in for that, or outside money coming in, as there should be. This is the type of job that you need, and I'm not saying it's him specifically, but an Arthur Blank to be like, yeah, I'll give you $2 million a year to pay the coach. Booster's got to boost.
Well, yeah, if you ain't boosting, you ain't trying,
right?
And so you're looking at all of these different things, and so Dell then asks the question. Prospects are waiting to hear about club jobs first. And, since we're leading into the regular season over in Europe, I don't know if, and the two names that we're talking about here, Mauricio Pochettino was, released by Chelsea. I can completely understand a guy like Pochettino sitting there going, man, I just want to enjoy myself for a minute. Unless the offer, capital T, capital O, comes to mind, comes to my agent, then I can jump in. Patrick Vieira left Strasbourg. Yep. So these are two separate situations here. And a lot of the conventional wisdom was that when Vieira left Strasbourg, he was interested in the USMNT gig, and that might have played into him exiting Strasbourg in the first place.
Yeah, I think first off, it's very likely that an Invincible is coaching one of my teams soon, which is fantastic.
But to say, might not be the U.S.
Yeah, one of my teams. Which it would be. Honestly, if we want to talk that angle, I think you're foolish if you don't think that Patrick Vieira wouldn't be a good hire for Atlanta United. Again, my only pause for concern with him coaching the U.S. men is he doesn't have international management experience. Now, the same is true for him and Poch, where they haven't managed internationally, but they do have a really decent legacy of playing internationally, especially Patrick Vieira. So
Right.
probably can overlook that and say, okay, he probably knows how to handle a national team.
Oh no! Yes,
And,
go for it,
and
Jared.
it's this thing where like we have to be
Team?
careful how we discuss what managers have done. I know a
Mhm.
lot of the discussion with Vieira is his overall record in New York. Do y'all remember the 2015, 2016 NYC teams? Like that man got water out of a stone out of some of those teams and got them up to second in the East before he left the gig and Dome Toronto took over. He did go to work there. Anyone who leaves Strasbourg, I mean, look, at this point, anyone who's leaving French teams, I figure, is just trying to survive because the
Yes.
French teams sure as hell aren't.
Nope.
And, like, not doing the job at Crystal Palace, like, that's, I mean, okay. We almost went to MLS Cup with a manager who didn't do the job at Crystal Palace, and everyone held it against him.
Well, I would argue also that the not doing the job at Crystal Palace. What was the job? To make top 4?
Yeah. Well,
To stay mid-table is what Crystal Palace wants.
Literally, that's all they're
Yeah.
trying to do
Yeah,
ever.
they're trying not to get relegated. That's the end of the day.
Yes.
But it's the same kind of conversation I had with Jorge about Sebastian Becasese taking over the Ecuador job. Like, he was at Elche in Spain. Dude, Elche's not spending money. Elche hired him. They asked him basically to take a dirt clod and turn it into gold, and he didn't do it. And he's like, I'm gone. I'm going to go back to the Americas and go coach. And like, you just got, when we talk about what coaches did or didn't do at a place, you got to be careful and also recognize that some places are absolute tire fires, and some places don't really have aspirations or want to. Like you talked about, having the Arthur Blank kind of money for the U.S. national team, someone to say, hey, here's our budget, go get a coach. Not everyone's going to have that same approach for the coach and on club level, not for their rosters. But I'd be fine with. I'd be interested in either one of these guys. I'd be interested for either one of these guys to sit in an interview for either the national team or the local team, for that matter.
Yeah. Speaking of coaches, we have a decision. We have a decision, and if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. So England has announced at England, talk about having the best Twitter account that you landed on ever at England is the national team's Twitter. Lee Carsley has been appointed interim head coach of the Three Lions ahead of the start of our Nations League campaign. So Carsley was your caretaker. And so now Carsley for the Three Lions will continue to caretake as a part of everything that they are going through. And the point that Pochettino was linked to this gig, now that the FA has finally decided, you know what? Maybe if we expanded our search outside of our borders, it wouldn't be a bad idea. But right now, Nations League campaign, Lee Carsley, and here's how it's phrased. Carsley will step up from his role in charge of the MU21s initially for September's fixtures away to the Republic of Ireland and at home to Finland, but with a view to remaining in the position throughout autumn while the FA's recruitment process for a new permanent head coach continues. And then they go into the bio, and then you get a couple of sentences from Carsley, FA CEO Mark Bullingham with a couple of sentences, and then they mention the trickle-down effect with Ben Fletcher taking over the U21s, UEFA Nations League B Group 2, Finland, Greece, the Republic of Ireland. And hey, by the way, tickets are now on sale. Clicking on a link for the match at Wembley on Tuesday, 10 September with a 7:45 kickoff. So England sticking with their interim. So the substitute teacher is going to continue substitute teaching for a while with England as they finally decide that, maybe if we grabbed a Thomas Tuchel, maybe if we grabbed a Mauricio Pochettino, that wouldn't be such a bad idea. But they're still debating it about what to do.
Well, good for them. I think it gives us more time to make I think what this actually does legitimately is puts the U.S. in a position to be able to say, look, we'll hire you now and pay you now. Because clearly England's not in they're not somewhere to make a decision quickly, I guess, which I don't know why they wouldn't. I feel like they should have the pick of the litter.
I was
But
going to say.
We'll take it.
Yeah. You want someone in place by a date, and now England has decided to, with everybody seemingly chasing after the same dudes, basically you're sitting at the poker table, and it seems like England just went check.
So which English team hires him after they hire a full-time manager, somebody else, inevitably? Like when they do decide to move on and go get somebody else, who's gonna do the BJ Callahan? Like which English club is gonna do BJ Callahan and hire? Is it Crystal Palace?
Crystal Palace. I mean, it would fit economically if they went after and kept Carsley. But let me see who is not clinically insane with an owner.
Well,
and
Chelsea just spent $60 million on Pedro Neto, so there's that.
Yeah, they did. Yes, I accept all cookies. Go away. Stop talking to me.
Chelsea is just that dude
see.
from your hometown who won the lottery and just blew it all within like 5 years.
Yeah, he is. Hey, what do you think? What do you think of my 2025 Lamborghini Countach? Yeah, do you drive it? No, I just let it hang out in the garage.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. What if Everton's season doesn't start well?
There you go. Ding,
yeah.
ding, ding. All right, we're done here.
They ain't got a whole lot of money to pay, someone anyway, because they're still going to pay off the bills from the stadium bill. But I mean, played for Everton.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Might not be I don't mean that in a bad way, but like, Everton's season starts off in a, why aren't we pushing a top 8 spot or however many, I can't keep
why are we still in the relegation zone, basically?
Right. When, Sean Dyche's team, I mean, I don't want to talk about Sean Dyche on a beautiful Friday morning, but if your team isn't playing well and not getting the results you want, those are two combinations that, as we saw here, that don't equal a manager staying long. And
And speaking of Everton, Crystal Palace co-owner John Textor has made a new bid to buy Everton after the Friedkin Group has withdrawn. But obviously, he'd have to sell his stake in Crystal Palace before he would have to buy Everton. You can't double dip. So terms are the same as when he made his offer on June 1st, according to Will Unwin and Ed Aarons at The Guardian. And what is it we always say about double reporters on a byline? More than one. Same as the June 1st offer in the previous round of bidding before the Friedkin Group came in and basically sat there and said, hey, yo, what about us? Then the Friedkin Group was like, nah, we're good. And so Texter's back in with his same old bid. If the offer is accepted, Texter will be the third party to enter a period of exclusivity with Blue Heaven Holdings, the company that owns Everton in the past year. Friedkin Group had agreed a deal to buy Farhad Mashiri's 94.1% stake, but withdrew after carrying out due diligence. American investors were concerned, Friedkin, meaning Friedkin, not Texter. Friedkin concerned about the legal uncertainties surrounding the £200 million in loans that 777 partners, the first to agree to a deal, gave the club. One complication is Texter's offer is that he owns 45% of Crystal Palace and would have to sell that. So he paid £87.5 million for the 40% stake in 2021 before extending it to 45% when he bought Lyon a year later. Guardian understands that could rule out Josh Harris and David Blitzer, who own 18% stakes in Palace, but are believed to have offered Texter the amount he paid for his shares. Texter is said to have been surprised by their low bid after a successful period on and off the pitch that included Palace matching their highest Premier League finish of 10th last season, and with work having started on the £150 million main stand, likely to be financed in part by Michael Olise's sale to Bayern Munich and Mark Gahey, who's also expected to depart to Newcastle. 3 other investors are believed to have expressed interest in buying Texter's shares, one from the Middle East and another said to be a sports celebrity-backed group from the U.S. Texter is understood to be confident in arranging a financing deal for Bramley-Moore Dock could allow him to delay a prospective takeover until as late as January. So that is your John Texter crossover news this morning, where it could be Texter wanting to go from a club that's just happy to be here, and literally that to me seems like Crystal Palace. We're just happy to be here, and you do just enough to stay in the middle of the pack. And so Texter looks like he's viewing Everton perhaps as a distressed asset and can flip it and go from Crystal Palace to Everton.
Well, I can't argue with the idea that it is a little bit of a distressed asset when you consider not just the placement of their finishes the past couple of years, but also the financial penalty somehow incurred that Manchester City continues to avoid, even though they're the biggest cheaters in Premier League history. That's it. Look, if it were slander, it would have to be proven false. And if I'm looking at an Everton club, you have to think one. I think that ownership group is probably one's out. Let's be real honest.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
They haven't been liked for about I feel like a decade at this point. And it's definitely a bigger club with bigger brand recognition, and you're the second fiddle in a large city in England as opposed to the third, fourth, fifth club in England, in a city.
The big dog, as you were saying.
Yeah. I mean, Everton definitely has a better brand recognition, which is what these guys are buying. You get a shiny new stadium that'll be hosting Euro. Yeah, they're hosting Euro, not Anfield. That is interesting. And then maybe we get another American owner in the Premier League. That'd be great too.
Yes. Okay, so you've got all of that going on. Question from the Twitch pitch on the women's side, and it's from Dell. Dell wondering if Lindsay Horan should start.
Yes,
that was quick. And I know
I understand Lindsay has not had a good tournament. I'm not going to defend her play, especially from Australia on. In Germany on even. She hasn't had a good tournament. That is valid. But you have to have Lindsay out there because despite her not having good games, she has produced great moments within games. And that is going to be very important against a team like Brazil that will give up chances. Brazil's going to give you some chances defensively. They're going to give up things, and you need a Lindsay Horan to be able to pick that lock. She's the captain of this team, even despite Emma Hayes coming in. She's still the captain. She is a very important player for this team. Now, maybe that extra day of rest helps her because again, we've been playing these games every 2 days. Well, 3 days.
Marta's gotten a lot of rest there, Bart.
Well, Marta has gotten a lot of rest for reasons. But I understand the concern about starting Lindsay Horan. But the reality is the trade-off is Corbin Albert, who has played well, but is not the offensive tool that Lindsay Horan is. And even with Brazil, you're looking at this game as a game you're most likely going to be very much in possession throughout the most of the game. You're probably going to have the ball most the game, despite Lindsay Horan in there.
I know that we've got a bronze medal match that folks are keeping an eye on as well.
It is the 29th minutes. No one has scored.
Okay, so yes, and so thank you for the update. We can't
not commentary, just updates.
No. Yes, we can discuss what's going on. We just can't let everybody know.
Germany wearing the all white. Spain wearing the all red. Interesting. Did you like the red shorts, John?
For the U.S.?
For the U.S. women.
I think that if you play it with the bomb pop top, I think that it looks really cool.
I thought it. Yes, I agree. The red shorts, the bomb pop kit looks great this year. I love it.
Yeah. So I mean, for a guy like me, you know me, the fashionista of soccer. That give me the bomb pop kit first and foremost, and then if you want to bleed with the bomb pop kit with the shorts and everything, then I see where you're going with. When it comes to the women's tournament and the men's tournament, let's take a peek back at the whole thing since we're now deciding medals and things. Biggest surprise. It's senior
Double
superlative.
save by Berger.
Oh,
Sorry.
wow.
She
So
deserves the
not
credit.
one save, but two.
Not one. Oh, there was an offside. Well, she still made 2 saves.
And
Good for
the
her.
flag, and the
We're not taking that away from the goalkeepers.
Okay, so flags up anyway. Senior superlatives time. Time to open up the yearbook when it comes to Paris. And this can be both men's and women's. You can take it whatever direction you want. Biggest surprise, either positive or negative. Biggest disappointment. Those kinds of senior superlatives. If you're looking back at this tournament, because the next time we talk, the tournament will be over and everyone will be heading back from Paris. Biggest shock, biggest surprise, biggest disappointment. You can take them good, bad, however you want to take, whatever direction you want to take.
I'm going to start with biggest disappointment because
Sure.
I think it's very clearly the French women.
Okay.
Again, they choked in a major tournament. This is nothing new for France. They continually underperform at big tournaments despite all the talent they have. This was probably the last time that they're going to have that core group of players who has been there for the longest time, Renard and company. At that age they have aged out completely. Not Hervé Renard, but Wendy Renard.
Not Hervé Renard.
I don't think they're related.
And his white collared button-down shirt.
And so I think France women definitely were the biggest disappointment because home soil, you had a chance to get a medal, a very easy chance to get a medal, and you coughed it up. That would be the biggest disappointment. Biggest surprise.
Like I said, it could be good or bad.
Well, I mean, I think it's that Brazil is in the gold medal final. One, they finished third in their group, so they didn't get buy-in except for, being one of the lucky losers, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But the Brazil women making a gold medal final, I don't think anyone had that on their bingo card. Especially because they had to go through the side of the bracket that was with France and Spain. That is impressive. Beating both of them is impressive. I mean, if Brazil wins gold, John, they will have beaten France, Spain, and the USA. If they pull that off, that'll be quite impressive. And they will deserve the run, and Marta can go retire and truly feel the love that she deserves from the sport.
When you look at Marta and her place, I know a lot of folks gravitate toward her post-match speech from a couple of years ago about the sport and how folks should view the sport. When you look at Marta, I know that is only a part of it. So when I mention Marta to you, how should folks remember her with what she has meant to the sport?
Marta has been a great ambassador of what Brazilian football is and taken that to the women's game, right? She's been the ambassador for Brazilian football to the women's game, and that flair, the panache, the jogo bonito, the beautiful side of the sport. And she has been a captivating player for, oh gosh, I'm going to have to try to do math, but nearly 2 decades. Nearly 2 decades.
Let's say 2 decades. There we go. It's a safe number.
And her longevity in the sport is impressive. Her ability to continue to play at a high level from 2007 to now is impressive. And again, I think she just represents the potential of South American women's international soccer. And the fact that they haven't been able to get the support that they need to truly elevate themselves while still getting third place in 2007, making they've had a really good run, and now they've got a chance to win gold. I think Marta deserves to be remembered as one of the best to have ever played, and certainly a one-of-a-kind player who was able to translate something that we know and love from the men's game to the women's game and make it even her own.
So when it comes to, let me apply this to the U.S. Women's National Team. I know that there was a concern for the longest time about transitioning the older players out and bringing the younger players in that we had seen were performing well but had been roadblocked for whatever reason. Where do you view that transition right now? Where are we with folks out, folks in, players that should be playing, players that aren't? Where is this transition now that we're in this first major tournament with Emma Hayes?
Well, I think the biggest one you see is that Alex Morgan no longer with this team. That is a big decision. And I think that she is the final, well, Alyssa Nair is the final, but I think Alex Morgan is, kind of the final player from that generation that we can say goodbye to. Crystal Dunn, you forget, is a couple years younger than them, so she isn't quite in that generation. She's more on the Julie Ertz side of things in terms of their age group. Julie Ertz retired early because of injury. But the Alex Morgan, she's 34 and up. I think we're done with that generation outside of Alyssa Nair. And the reason we still have Alyssa Nair is because she is a goalkeeper. So that, we can, but even then, I'm very curious how that's going to transition after this tournament, because we can't rely on what would be an almost 40-year-old Alyssa Nair, in 2026 or 2027. That would
come
be,
on.
That could be problematic.
Keepers age differently, Bart. You know that.
They do. And we see how Brad Guzan has some good games and some bad games. I think we are fully through the transition process. Now, that said, this is the start of a new transition, because you now, hopefully after this Olympics, you look at the 3-year cycle for the next World Cup and go, okay, of the players now, are we getting a true and full evaluation and inventory? Because I think one of the critiques you could make of Emma putting this roster together, and the critique comes with a lot of caveats, but the critique could be she did not go deep enough into the player pool to have a good understanding of who could come in and make this team better. So that's the question now. Is Emma Hayes is in place, she will have her full attention on being able to scout the best league in the world, as well as looking at some of the players in lesser leagues in Europe and looking at how you can put together a 23-player squad from all the talent the U.S. has. Because despite what people wanted to say after last summer, the U.S. still has the most talent of any national team system in the world, because we don't have just one academy producing players. We don't just have one professional team collecting all of our good players in the country. We have the broadest player pool that you're going to find in women's international soccer. So that means there might be players, and I'm going to say some names that might confuse people, but players like a Rose Lavelle, players like Lindsey Horan, even players like Tierna Davidson, who have to prove time and time again that they are starting caliber players or national team caliber players, because you have so much depth behind you. And now you have a coach who seems committed to pushing the standard time and time again, and not allowing complacency to set in, or just allowing the squad to be what it is. That has been her MO at Chelsea. She's always tried to get in the best players. Even if she had a really good player one year, she's bringing in a player who can be better. And if you're a player who has had a bad tournament, like Lindsey Horan, if you're a player who struggles with injury, like Rose Lavelle, if you're a player who isn't producing, like, let's be honest, Alex Morgan, you need to remember that your job is to produce, not just at the club, but the international level. And I think so. I think we're done with the older head transition. I think now you're looking at what is that next transition, and it's trying to get in better, as many good players as you possibly can into the U.S. Women's National Team system. And I think Emma Hayes has a big job cut up for her, because again, you look at NWSL, it is the most competitive league in the world. And there's a reason for that. It's because you have the most talent here. every player on these rosters could go play for another league. Every player in an NWSL roster, most of them could be starting for a Champions League team. I mean, let's be real honest. There's that much talent in this league, despite what people want to say.
Another couple of minutes here with Bart Keeler at Barnabas Prime 19 at SoccerForUSPod. We're going to catch up with half of the teams competing in the last four in the UPSL starting at 10 o'clock to wrap up the show this morning here on a Friday. Reffing down here from the Olympic tournament, I know that obviously we gravitate toward the Argentina match and all of the chaos and the delays and all of the just, oh my God, what an ish storm that was.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the tournament in and of itself, what have you seen when it comes to the capability of officials and what you've seen in Paris? And I guess so far what we've seen in Leagues Cup, where you get some familiar faces that are going to be that have been navigating matches in the middle with Liga MX playing Major League Soccer. From Leagues Cup to this point and from Paris, what have you seen with refs?
Well, I'll be honest, I haven't watched Leagues Cup because I don't believe in the tournament as a entity.
Fair enough. Well, I know, and as we say, we view it. I mean, I view it through the prism of a television show. And if it's a TV show that you don't want to watch, you're not going to watch a TV show.
100%.
I get it.
My television show is on a mid-season break. It's fine. I thought the Olympics is a weird one to judge because I definitely don't have your top officials here. But you have some good quality ones. And I think overall it's been inconsistent, I think is the best way to put it. You also have to remember a lot of these referees are refereeing on short notice or short rest.
Hey, get over here.
Doesn't seem like it should affect you, but it does. You also remember that on top of them having short rest, you don't get to use a lot of referees repeatedly throughout the tournament because all of the matches are played on one day. Yeah. So men's and women's, all the matches played on one day. So you may be able to say, okay, I'm going to use a referee for this group stage match. He's going to get a day off and then use them again, or 2 days off, use them again. Because all the matches are on the same day, you need more good referees. I just think it's been a little inconsistent across the board.
Okay. What is the next latest stuff for the SoccerForUSPod? What are you guys talking about, and what's going on? What do we get to promote when it comes to the SoccerForUSPod?
Well, hopefully we're talking on Monday about a gold medal that we've won.
Okay.
That is the hope. Regardless, we'll be talking Monday. We'll record Monday and figure out what went right, what went wrong for both of our national teams. I will just say that on our side of things, we're not doom and gloom about the men's national team program like some people are on Twitter, because we understand that, believe it or not, Georgie Mihailovic is not our best over 23 player we could have sent to this tournament.
What?
No offense to Georgie. We are Georgie Mihailovic fans on SoccerForUSPod, but we understand that is, there are levels, and sometimes you just come up against better teams and you get beat. But looking at the women's team, I think we're all I want to say we feel justified in our defense of this team, because if you listen to us after the Women's World Cup, we were frustrated because we saw the talent. There was so much talent for this team, and to watch it fail at the World Cup was really frustrating. And yes, it was a lot of coaching, but it wasn't just tactics. It seems like it's very much more about the attitude and the culture around the team that Vlatko got wrong. And clearly he's doing something right, because Kansas City's having a darn good season in NWSL. And that's where, I think we're all also very frustrated, because we were like, yeah, Vlatko sounds like a great hire. And then he gets here and it's like, wait, what happened to the guy that we hired? Somehow Vlatko didn't come to the U.S. Women's National Team. And so Emma's done a great job of kind of reinstituting the competitive nature of this team. And I think we feel justified that, yes, it's coaching, but it's also like, no, our players are still the best in the world. And we feel very confident that we felt very confident after 2023. We're like, no, this was a bad tournament. Yeah. We feel very justified right now.
Good deal. Well, as always, my friend, it's great to catch up with you. I had the feeling that you might be playing hooky from the real world this morning, or at least could duck out and be there in the home studio to discuss stuff with us as we get ready for gold medals and things over in Paris. So
this has been a slow week for us at work because we finished all of our markets last week. So
as you were traversing the planet for the last 2 going from Atlanta to Vegas,
from Atlanta to Vegas back to Atlanta, all for work was a lot.
Yes. So enjoy the beverage that is in your Wicked mug, and we will catch up with you on the flip side. So you're back. Are you back with us on Monday to discuss gold medals and things, or what?
Yes.
Okay. So back normal time slot on Monday, and we'll be back.
Both gold medals. We'll talk all the soccer gold medals.
Yes, we'll talk all the soccer when you come back to your normal time slot on Monday. Enjoy the bronze medal match, the gold medal match, and all of the matches, and we'll catch up with you once again early next week, my friend. Thanks for dropping by.
Y'all have a great Friday. Enjoy your weekend.
What he said. That's Bart. So Bart's out. And once again, at SoccerForUSPod, Soccer for Us, and I just call it because he covers national team stuff. It's the SoccerForUSPod. And at Bartimus Prime 19, follow him on the 280 character app. Time for me to go through and say hi to everybody. We're going to go through half of the UPSL last four, starting at 10 o'clock. Our friends from Inland Empire FC, Coach Oswaldo Moreno, set to join us. And after that, we catch up with the head coach at Rochester, Rory Charcola. We caught up with him yesterday, and it was it was a part of all of the discussions and plots and plans of everybody trying to get to Pittsburgh. Once again, remember the doubleheader tonight on BN Sports. Jason will be on the call at 6 and 9, and then the championship game in Pittsburgh on Sunday. Because of Jason being in Pittsburgh, Maddie and I will have Atlanta United 2 and Toronto FC 2 for you on Sunday night from the Fraction. So a half hour before kick. I think 7 o'clock pregame, 7:33 kick. It'll be Atlanta United 2 and Toronto FC 2 as Atlanta United 2 chases after a third win in a row in the Eastern Conference. Toronto FC 2, point or so ahead of them in the standings, and so it's a chance to close that gap as well as extend your win streak, period, to 3 matches. And so we'll get into that. So morning Dell, and there'll be no good morning to our bot friends. Morning Alex, morning Ropes, and morning Harry. And let's see, Alex and Dell and Michael Valverde. So, and good morning, Lionel Shake. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I was taking the X kind of like Shaka, like Granite Shaka. So good morning, Lionel. Thanks for dropping by this morning. Morning, David, discussing Marta and Michael Valverde. Asking, interesting notice of a data breach from our dear friends at Ticketmaster. How is this disaster of a service still in control of so many venues, including the Benz? Well, it was because they've done it for so long, and they have they have the market saturation. Well, I mean, it's either them or Live Nation, and so it depends really now on the venue. But Ticketmaster, having been Ticketmaster for as long as they have, I did not know about the data breach. So just keep an eye on your data if you have dealt with Ticketmaster in the past. But I was Ticketmaster, it's because of seniority. And like I said, I know that Live Nation and there are a couple of others that are out there, and some folks deal with it independently. But it's the seniority aspect of it. They've done it for as long a period of time as they have, and venues trust who Ticketmaster is. And so that's what the relationship is for. Yes, and also down in our discussion about Everton, the other team in Liverpool. Yes, the Blues in Liverpool. David, good morning. And about Marta. 5 or 6 years ago, we went to go see Orlando City with Marta while at Disney with kids. First time I saw her in person, watching her vision, movement, and passing was amazing. She was so much better than everyone out there by leaps and bounds. She will always be special in my mind. Understandably so. And there's some news and notes and things to get into this morning. Transfer news. Pedro Nero set for a Chelsea medical after a £50 million+ bid accepted by Wolves. Cesar Luis Merlo this morning is saying that Minnesota United is in advanced negotiations to purchase Joaquin Pereira, the attacking mid from Atletico Tucumán. Still a few details left to complete before the deal is finalized. If it goes ahead, the contract will run through December of 2027. So Minnesota United, Atletico Tucumán, and Joaquin Pereira are in the discussions about possibly Pereira becoming a loon, and I mean that in the sense of being a Minnesota United property. Philadelphia Union have signed Haitian international Donnelly Jean-Jacques from Metz, and so he gets added to the mix for Jim Curtin. And going from Metz, 24-year-old midfielder from the same French club where they found midfielder Jamiro Monteiro. So diving back into the well with Metz, and we've discussed everything going on about the French league and all of that kind of ish that is currently going on. So according to Jonathan Tannenwalder, Tanner goes back to the same place 5 years ago where they found Jamiro Monteiro. Donnelly Jean-Jacques, a 24-year-old Haitian, isn't the same kind of midfielder Monteiro was. Fair to spotlight the fact they've come here from Metz, relegated Ligue 1 to Ligue 2. Many French clubs have talented players whom MLS teams can afford. Encouraging the Union have gone shopping there. So Portland had dibs on Jean-Jacques. And so the Union paid $100,000 in dibs money to Portland after paying Metz a transfer fee of around $1.6 million. So once again, dibs coming into play here in Major League Soccer. Not quite the $350 that LAG paid Charlotte to get Marco Reus. $350,000 in dibs money, man. And then so Philadelphia pays $100,000 in dibs money to Portland for Donnelly Jean-Jacques, plus the transfer fee of $1.6. Agreed on a contract through 26, team held options for 27 and 28. 69 matches over 2 years, mainly as a defensive or deep central midfielder. 10 caps for the Haitian national team. Ernst Tanner quote, and Bedoya's retirement on the horizon. McGlynn could be sold, and possibly Jose Martinez. And so Donnelly Jean-Jacques might be getting a lot of time on the pitch for Philadelphia very, very soon. This was something else that came across this morning, and I'm not surprised. And like I said, right now here in Columbus, I have literally 3 devices fired up, and I'm trying to find out all of the news and information that I can and try to do it quickly. So I have 3 devices. I have 2 laptops and my tablet. This morning, Reggie Cannon. We talked about Reggie Cannon in the past and just how much of an show Boa Vista is. Remember where Boa Vista basically just terminated Reggie Cannon's contract. It's like they weren't paying him, and so Cannon's like, well, y'all ain't paying me, I'm out. So they terminated his deal. And I'm waiting to see if I get something through Google Translate, because I want to translate this properly. So it looks like I'm going to have to go and do a bit of an end run here. But the bottom line is, and we'll get into the details in a second, that Reggie Cannon lost his court case against Boa Vista. Lost his court case against them for unilaterally terminating his contract. And so because he lost the court case, he now owes the Portuguese club 1.3 million euro. He lost the court case. And so now he owes them 1.287 million euro. I'm guessing legal fees and such. So Reggie Cannon got stuck. He got stuck losing the case. Lost the court case against Boa Vista for unilaterally terminating his contract, and so he now owes them 1.287 million euro. I'm thinking that the lesson here is maybe stay away from the Portuguese league. I'm just kind of saying out loud. Just kind of thinking maybe. A couple of other things. Nicola Shira, positive talks between Juve and Fiorentina for Nico Gonzalez, who's asking for a salary of €3.6 million a year, and Weston McKennie. Juve have given the green light for the sale, and Viola are now working to convince the midfielder about going to Fiorentina. So the report from Shira suggesting that it's now up to McKennie if he wants to move to Fiorentina, and so trying to get something done by the end of the month when it comes to any kind of a transfer or move or what have you. So, here we go. Maybe we can get the translation here finally. Just trying to, it's like laptop, no. iPad, no. So here's the headline from 0-0 in Portugal. Boa Vista wins Reggie Cannon case. Checkered players receive €1.287. And checkered, that's the Boa Vista jersey. That's all the checkers. FIFA announced the verdict in the Reggie Cannon case. Boa Vista benefiting from the respective process. Once again, Google translated. According to the statement issued by the body that governs world football, the former player has to pay the fine of €1.287 million to the club for having terminated his contract without just cause with the addition of 5% interest. He's going to have to pay the 5% interest by from June 22nd of 23 on the date of actual payment. Respective message also states QPR will also be responsible for paying the respective compensation. However, and this has got to be a small however, by the way, morning forecard. So a small however in this through our friends at Google Translate and 00. However, there we go. They will have to pay €45,000 net as outstanding remuneration, plus an increase of 5% interest from June 6 to the date of actual payment as a result of the defender's accusation. Another penalty in the amount of €33,000 net was also imposed with the same interest rate mentioned above. From 0-0, it should be remembered that Vitor Murta, former president of Boa Vista, had already confirmed the case was before the Joint Arbitration Commission. Reggie Cannon will have to prove everything he said in court, the director stated to Record. It is important to highlight QPR, the English club involved in the process, appealed FIFA's decision. So Reggie Cannon, who was less than pleased about his situation at Boa Vista, now apparently is responsible for €1.287 million. The player has been condemned. The fine is for ending his contract without a valid reason. So he lost his court case against the former club. And so that's where Reggie Cannon is. Unbelievable. But once again, not necessarily a surprise when it comes to all of this stuff. So Reggie Cannon, man, I feel sorry for you having to deal with Boa Vista. So that'll be your Google search and your Google stuff for today, is going back and remembering about Boa Vista and remembering about Reggie Cannon. So Reggie Cannon apparently has to pay €1.287 million to a club who he was having issues with over salary and a bunch of things. So not a good situation for Reggie Cannon. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and we'll get into that, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully being joined by our friends from Inland Empire FC coming up here in just a little bit as we talk about the the UPSL Final Four that's in Pittsburgh right now, playing at 6 and 9 tonight. And they will have the championship game on BN Sports on Sunday. So gossip, rumor, innuendo, what to look at. Once again, we do this from our friends at the BBC because they do a good accumulation of everything. Liverpool maintain a strong interest in Newcastle's Anthony Gordon. A deal to buy the 23-year-old collapsed in June. Gordon's price likely elevated. Unai Emery wants to sign Joao Felix, keen to leave Atletico Madrid. Real Madrid and PSG are looking at highly rated Chelsea defender Josh Achiampong, who's 18, as a potential option at right back, graduate of Chelsea's academy. Leicester nearing a loan deal for 19-year-old Argentine and Brighton midfielder Facundo Buonanotte. That's from the four-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Real Sociedad trying to convince Liverpool's 25-year-old Martin Zubamendi to reject a move to Anfield. £51 million release clause. Rejected multiple offers, meaning Liverpool, for Dutch defender Sepp Vandenberg. Hoffenheim, Stuttgart, Wolfsburg, Mainz, Borussia Mönchengladbach, and Bayer Leverkusen. Brentford have agreed on a loan deal with a clause to buy, which could be around £10 million to sign 24-year-old Sweden midfielder Jens Kajust from Napoli. Valencia sporting director Miguel Angel Corona says Atletico Madrid tried to cancel their move for Conor Gallagher in order to prioritize a deal for his club's Spanish midfielder Javi Guerra. That might not go well with Conor Gallagher at Atleti. Birmingham City have agreed to a deal with Rennes over a potential transfer of Wales midfielder Jordan James. Marseille retain an interest in Eddie Nketiah. Bournemouth in advanced talks with Barca to sign Mexico defender Julian Araujo in a $10 million deal. French defender Billy Cumecchio on the verge of a move from Liverpool to Dundee. Fulham have stepped up their interest in Villa's Diego Carlos, expected to leave before the transfer window shuts. Villa are open to offers, and so that is that. Also, it looks like Spurs are in the process of trying to land Dominic Solanke from Bournemouth for a large chunk of change, and it's looking like it might be in the neighborhood of $60 million club record fee ongoing to finalize a deal. Jean-Claude Todibo set to undergo a medical today with West Ham ahead of a proposed move from Nice, so it looks like West Ham might have pipped in that case. So let's see. Todibo, Diego Carlos, Arsenal ready to sanction Nketiah's Marseille loan with a €30 million obligation to buy, and Pedro Neto once again. Chelsea agreeing on a €63 million Pedro Neto deal with Wolves, and so that's where that is where we are with all of our gossip, rumor, and innuendo. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it today, because remember the bronze medal match is going on right now, and that is on Peacock and the NBC family of networks. Remember, the gold medal match has been moved from one place to another. It's now going to be on Big NBC. It was supposed to be on USA Network, and so now the women's gold medal match has now been moved to Big NBC for that broadcast. Today, BN and BN in Espanol, Turkish Super League starting back up. Galatasaray and Hatayspor is at 2. You can get BN, so you can watch the Turkish Super League. You can watch Jason and the UPSL last 4 and the championship games on Friday and Sunday. Get all the BNs, Nuestra Tele for the fans, CDO, Liga 1 Max, TIC, all of that at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. And you can get all of the information that you're hunting for all of the sicko sports in the sicko countries and all the sicko matches. They've added, get this, BN has added second division Ecuadorian football. True sicko material there. But anyway, you can go to Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Helps out the show, and it helps them out as well, our friends at Fanatis. And you can get all of these wild networks that have all of these matches from all around the planet all in one place. This is kind of cool. Paramount Plus has added the EFL. They've added championship, etc. And so that starts today. Blackburn and Derby County at 3 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. Our friend Poppy Miller is going to be in studio host for that. Looking forward to all of that. So it starts today, CBS Sports Network, Blackburn and Derby County. 9 a.m. once again, Germany and Spain. That's going on right now. France and Spain and the Men's Olympics, that is on at noon on USA. We mentioned being in Espanol, simulcasting Turkish Super League. ESPN Deportes St. Pauli and Atalanta is at 12:30. Telemundo simulcasting men's and women's Olympics, 9 a.m. and noon. Leagues Cup, everything once again. We talked about where that's going to be on Apple TV and Season Pass. ESPN Plus, Dutch Eredivisie at 2 o'clock with Groningen and Breda. St. Pauli and Atalanta, 12:30. USL Championship tonight at 8:30 on ESPN Plus, Tulsa and Orange County. Jägermeister Cup, Central Valley, Fuego, and Omaha, as we are now in the elimination stages of Jägermeister Cup on ESPN Plus. That's at 11 o'clock tonight from Fresno State University. Golasso Network is the back end of the doubleheader on the EFL today for day one for Paramount Plus. Properties, Golasso Network has Preston North End, Sheffield United. That's at 3 o'clock. So you're going from CBS Sports Network early to Golasso Network for the back end of the doubleheader. NBCSports.com and also Peacock simulcasting all of the soccer. Paramount Plus is simulcasting both matches from the championship, Blackburn Derby, and Preston North End and Sheffield United. So that is where we are with what to watch and how to watch it. Somewhat of a breaking news out of RSL, and I'll go ahead and find the breaking news sounder. I'll go ahead and find it. Where is it? Where's my breaking news sounder? It's like, when you have all of these different drops, you're trying to figure out what you got and where it is, and you think you had it, you think you mashed the right button, and you didn't. So news out of RSL. Official communications, RSL has added Portuguese number 10, Diogo Gonçalves from FC Copenhagen. Former Benfica Nottingham Forest playmaker is the fourth addition to the side in the summer transfer window. Eligibility for August 24th, pending the ITC, the International Transfer Certificate, and receipt of the P1 visa. Added attacking prowess from RSL. Attacking prowess to the roster with the acquisition of Gonçalves, the former Portuguese Youth International and FC Copenhagen playmaker, a veteran of more than 30 UEFA Champions League appearances. RSL has signed the experienced UEFA Champions League veteran as a DP through the end of 26. Club options for nothing like a slide bar for 27 and 28. Gonçalves with a quote, reunited with former Benfica teammate Chicho Arango in 2017. Also classified as a DP under the roster rules and regs. Pending receipt of the ITC and P1 visa, hopes to be eligible for selection for Pablo Mastroeni on August 24th when San Jose goes to Rio Tinto. Quote from Chief Soccer Officer Kurt Schmidt, Gonçalves joins Benji Michel, Lachlan Brook, and Javane Brown as the other signings in the last 3 weeks. And then you have quotes and bios and all of that. So Diogo Gonçalves, attacking midfielder and winger, now a part of RSL. So there's that. Morning, Sharif. Morning, Alex. So Alex has a question about Chelsea, and we can certainly find out the answer somehow. I imagine we can. So Alex wants to know, and we'll go to our interview from our friends at Rochester NYFC in just a sec. Alex wants to know about Chelsea. How many players does Chelsea sign this summer to fix the fact that they signed too many players in the prior window, which was an attempt to fix the fact they signed too many players in the prior window? And no, I didn't accidentally repeat myself. No, you did not. So that will that is, not necessarily a surprise. Let's do some investigating, shall we? Chelsea summer signings. All right, so we've gone to the Google machine. Let's see if we are Chelsea summer signings. Good Lord, man can't even type. I thought I hit 2 M's and I had just one. So Chelsea summer signings, and so it asks me, "Is that what you wanted?" I'm like, "No, that's not what I wanted." Okay, so as of a month ago, to answer the question, summer transfers 2024. So in Adarabioyo, Esteval Willian, Amari Kelly, big picture, Mark Guyu, Kieran Dewsbury Hall, Tyreek George, Caden Wilson, Richard Elise, and like I said, this was before Caleb Wiley. So 9 in. Departures, Thiago Silva, Dion Rankin, joined Wigan, Charlie Webster, Jamie Cumming, Ian Matson, Amari Hutchinson, Lewis Hall, Hakim Ziyech, Chinonso Chibueze. 9 in, 10 out. Summer loans, 3. Teddy Sharman loaned to Doncaster Rovers. Ted Curd to the National League South, and Dylan Williams loaned to Burton Albion. So 9 in, 10 out, 3 loaned to lower divisions. So that's the Chelsea numbers for 2024. That's where we are. Okay. time to catch up with our friends in the UPSL. Remember, matchups tonight for the last four chasing after a national championship. And the matchups for the tournament, once again, this is going to be at Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh. And so the matchups tonight are our friends from the national finals. Once again, that you're going to have. No, that is not what's. I want the schedule. It's like I'm looking for the schedule here. So August 11. No, national. Okay. 6 o'clock, it is Rochester, NYFC, and Soda City. That's at 6. And at 9 o'clock tonight in the national side, it is the other two sides. It is Inland Empire and Dodge City Toros. So yesterday, we caught up with Rory Charcola, and he is the head coach at Rochester, NYFC, and he was getting ready for a lot of folks moving around because he was heading to practice, and we caught him before the show, and he was getting ready for practice and getting ready for everybody to drive down from Rochester down to Pittsburgh for the matches tonight. So here is our interview with Rochester NYFC head coach Rory Charcola as they get ready for the last four this weekend here in the UPSL. Time to catch up with one of the four participants heading to Pittsburgh and getting ready for the UPSL championships. And the last four, right now, it is top seed. That's what they're saying, top national seed, and they've made it to the last four. Catching up with Rochester NYFC head coach Rory Charcola. Coach, thanks for dropping by in a very, very busy week.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
All right, so if you and I had talked before the spring season had started, and I had told you that this would be the current situation, that you're prepping through even more chaos to get ready for a trip to Pittsburgh to chase after a national title, what would you have told me?
I would have thanked you. Because I think we'd have been better prepared for it with all the roster rules with, our program's a U23 program. So these are college guys. So, we've got all of our guys that are Division I college players are ineligible because the NCAA guidelines, they'd lose their eligibility for the fall. So being that start date was, I believe, Tuesday or Monday of this week, we probably would have rostered some more of the academy guys, paid the registration fee and had more of them available. But no, I think if you told me that, I'd have been thrilled and taken it. So, it's been a cool year for us.
How cool has it been since you opened that door? I'll go ahead and ask.
No, I mean, listen, this is our second year in. Our division, Western New York, is a tough division. There's a lot of good teams. Last year was our first year in, and, we learned a bit. The program's been around. This is its fifth year. So for 3 years, we just trained our alums who are looking for more than just, playing UPSL, USL2, NPSL over the summer. They wanted more training like they got from us when they were academy players. So when we added it last year, adding games, it was some growing pains. There's some overlap with the academy season. And this year we restructured it and really attacked it. And I think we had it set up really well to go in and win the league, which was our goal. We wanted to, have a bigger platform to shout from in our market to kind of let people know what we're doing on the academy side. So, the target was to win the division. What happened from there, we really didn't even think too much about. And so it's been cool that we've been able to host, get some decent crowds and youth from the market and watching them. And, then going down and winning in Cleveland, the New York Renegades group was a very, very good team. So, soccer, you got to ride a bit of the luck, and we've definitely gotten that. And so it's cool to go down to Pittsburgh with, a unique group of some of the guys who've done it, some youth guys, some other guys, and give them the opportunity and see what happens.
I was going to ask, how much of a challenge has it been for you and the staff to assemble a roster, knowing what we've just talked about guidelines and collegiate eligibility? How much of a challenge has it been for you guys to assemble a roster to get you ready for Pittsburgh?
I mean, it's been a challenge. I mean, we started preseason this week for the academy. We do a pre-academy camp. So for, kids that are in zone 1, 9, 10, 11, 12 is this week. And, then you're dealing with the guys that are leaving, which is awesome. The U23 program is to get them ready for their next college season. So we're thrilled with what they've done and the way they've represented the club this summer. But yeah, 13 guys from the previous 3 rounds, they're ineligible, there's 8 guys going this weekend that, played no part in the national playoff games, and 6 guys will start their first national playoff game. So we didn't finalize the roster literally till about yesterday. But that said, we've had 44 guys play for the program this summer. So it's the next guy up. These guys that are going, some of them have played against MLS Academy teams, guys that have played Next Pro, so you take what you've got and you go give it your best shot. So, we're missing guys and we're hoping they'll be on watching, supporting the group. And hopefully, we show our way, we're good people. We show our style of play. And, if we continue with a little bit of that luck, maybe we're playing in the final on Sunday.
For those that don't know, some of us of a certain vintage do know about the history of Rochester, New York, and what it means to the soccer footprint here in the United States. For someone who isn't of a certain vintage, and I'll point to myself for those watching the video version, how would you describe what soccer means to Rochester and that particular part of New York?
Yeah, I mean, obviously with the Rhinos back in their heyday and winning the Open Cup, there's been a bit of a void. We had, the first team in Next Pro here for a year. So, I think like any market, you think your market is the market. But yeah, there's, I think, a need for something maybe here professionally in Western New York. I mean, you see on the football side, American football, I'm speaking, with the Bills and the big following they get. But I think it's also just, sometimes we all live in our own bubble, and for our bubble of the academy, getting our guys together, it's been really cool for those guys to come together and play. I mean, Western New York soccer, the Rhinos, it's great, but also we're a small market. Rochester, Buffalo, and Syracuse are small cities compared to New York, Boston. So for our academy, which was Empire United and now is RNYFC, we go play in the big markets, and it's difficult. It's difficult for these guys growing up playing, Boston, New York market. So now to be able to come together, get the best guys together, over the spring, summer, and play for something is really cool. Because as youth, we could get our butts whooped once in a while. And so now being able to be on the other end of that, it's unique, it's cool, it's exciting.
Stylistically, when you're going up against Soda City coming up this weekend, I guess this is time to play soccer match game. When things are going well for us out on the pitch, offensively and defensively, style of play wise, how would you describe what Rochester NYFC does out there on the pitch?
Yeah, we want to be proactive. We want to be the protagonist, whatever you call it. We're going to, it's not as deep of a roster as we've had every game this year with the college guys away, but we're going to still try and press. We're going to still try and play from the back and build out. We'll have to at times defend deep. The best teams in the world, your Man Cities, Real Madrids, you have to, the game has ebbs and flows. So it's not like we're going to be all over them or them all over us. But we're going to try and play our way, whether it's, a regular league game or, a national semifinal. We'll try and be on the front foot and be proactive and, play together as a team.
Do you, in a situation like this, with all the stuff that we've been talking about when it comes to assembling a match day 18 or 20, do you focus more on yourself? How much studying do you do of the opposition? How do you navigate the challenges that we've been talking about and still prep for a national semifinal?
Yeah, it's a unique one. It's a unique one all summer, because it's a college program. We're trying to get them better for college. So obviously what we do is going to be different from what their college coach does. How we want to play and showcase ourselves to our market doesn't really always relate to the opponent, but at the same time, myself, our staff, Gianluca Cuomo, Aiden Miller, Andrew Lill, these guys who do a ton behind the scenes, we'll watch all these games. We'll show a few clips, but we want to make it about ourselves. So internally to the staff, we do a lot of prep. Externally to what we're doing in training with the guys and what we show them, we make it more about ourselves than about the opponent.
Rory Charcola, head coach of Rochester NYFC, getting ready for a national semifinal, the last 4 in the UPSL, getting ready for a trip to Pittsburgh. When you have the roster assembled, you know what your roster is going to look like. For those who will be drifting in for the first time to watch, who are some of the folks that they may gravitate toward that are watching the Final Four, the last 4? Who are some of the folks that naturally folks will be gravitating toward where Rochester NYFC is concerned?
That's a difficult question. It's always for us, we over me. The team's the star. There's two guys that are joining us. Their first starts, I think, their first starts of the entire campaign for us. Kamal Ibrahim and Alex Vega. Other than those two, though, the rest of these guys are all alums of the program or academy guys. So, Jamison Rayleigh at the 10, Aiden Burke is going to be a winger. Tanner Bay is a 1999 with Zach Dreyer, who both graduated years ago. Both guys who coach in the program. You'll see them listed on the roster as player coaches. These guys have been with us, the entire year. Tanner's in med school. Zach Dreyer's applying. These guys, they have jobs. Roman Novi Marks will be playing with us, another alum. Jake Schaefer, who just graduated this past spring from Yale. And then there's two more alums, Nick Swanger, Tyler Moran. These are two guys that played with us. They graduated in 2020. So they were on a very good academy team in the old U.S. Soccer DA that made a national quarterfinal. They played with two guys that are both in with Orlando City, Giorgio Koshevsky and Abdi Salim, and they never got to play in that national quarterfinal because the pandemic, of course, took more than soccer away from us as a society. But those guys never got to realize that they're playing at a local University of Rochester Division III. So that they get to play in this, which is cool. So I can't point to anyone. I'm excited for the group. I didn't mention Sam Auditori, who will start his first game of the playoffs. He's a guy who was an Academy U19 player this year. So, I think the group is going to be the star. I'm hopeful that's what people are excited when they watch us. Like, okay, these are some younger guys. These guys are playing college. They're playing against men. They compete well, good people, try and own the ball, and are enjoyment to watch, enjoyable to watch.
What's it like to have everything come full circle with all of these individuals who, when they leave the program, then you have these opportunities? What's it like to have everybody circle back to sit there and say, yeah, I want to come back and be a part of something that I was a part of when I was growing as a soccer player?
I mean, to be honest, it's why we do it. It's the most enjoyable part. The academy season in MLS Next starts. I mean, we're in preseason now, so it starts in September. It goes till June. When we're playing on Sundays, home or away here in July, I wouldn't say as staff, our families are thrilled that our summer weekends have more coaching in soccer. So, but because of the guys, I mean, they show up, when we train Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, we've got 25, 30 guys showing up. Some of these guys never make a roster, and, they show up, they put in a shift. It's fun to work with them because they want to be here. They want to get better. And then when we go put a roster out, we play on the weekend, especially the home games. These guys will stay after, have pizza and wings and a drink. Some of them are here for 2-3 hours in our facility after a game, just chopping it up, being together. So it's been a pleasure. It's fun working with these guys, no matter which group we've got. And that's why we do it.
Coach, I wish you nothing but the best. I hope that the challenges of the week become less and less and less as you get closer and closer to Pittsburgh. Thanks for dropping by. I know it's an incredibly busy time on a bunch of different fronts because I know all of the different hats that you have. I know that you probably have to use both sides of the business card with everything that you do there at Rochester NYFC. Good luck this weekend as you travel to Pittsburgh, take on Soda City in the Final Four. The last four in the UPSL National Finals. Thanks for dropping by the morning show. Good luck. We'll catch up with you soon, my friend.
Thank you for having us, John.
There is Rory Charcola, the head coach at Rochester NYFC. National semifinal number 1 against Soda City FC. And once again, Jason will be on the call on BN, so you can watch on BN across all of their different networks. And it's all good with everything going on. First semifinal, once again, East versus Southeast. Only one loss between both teams all season. Rochester, once again, the overall number 1 seed in the UPSL National Finals. They haven't lost a game all year, but you heard Coach Charcola talk about all of the changes that have had to go with all of the collegiate players having to go back to college. Can't keep them around, otherwise you get into eligibility issues. So they are going to have some roster change with some alums coming in. It will be an interesting challenge for them going up against Soda City out of Columbia, South Carolina, one of the league's highest scoring teams. and they defeated two former national finalists on the way to the finals. And so that will be an interesting matchup. In matchup number one, Soda City FC head coach George Trifos said that they're really excited to reach this stage of the competition, delighted to be back for their second national finals. They're going to make the most of it. And that one is going to be at 6 o'clock on BN. Remember, for BN, other than Fanatis, you can catch it up on your TV, your computer, your smartphone, BN through Roku, YouTube TV, Samsung TV Plus, Sling, Fubo, Pluto TV, Tubi, and more. And you can also go to bnsports.com and get more information there. The national semifinal number 2, the nightcap, which is slated for 9 o'clock, that one is the one that is involving Inland Empire FC and Dodge City Toros. And so you've got that one as your second semifinal with the left-hand side of the bracket and the right-hand side of the bracket. So Dodge City and Inland Empire. And Dodge City advanced to their second ever national final after previously playing in the Spring 22 finals in Columbus, Ohio. Inland Empire make their first national finals appearance after their run. Third place finish in SoCal South. Inland Empire beat Fall 22 finalist Rush ACM 3, back-to-back national playoff quarterfinalist Valley 599 FC to get to this moment. And catching up with Osvaldo Moreno over the weekend and getting ready for this matchup. He said it means a lot to the guys. A lot of the players have been with the club for a while, and you now have this moment for them in a national semifinal, dream come true with this group, and they're going to fight to the last. Dodge City Toros head coach Andrew De La Torre makes it to the national finals 2 times in 3 years. He says it's a tremendous accomplishment, not only for the club, but for the entire city and community. And you can go back into Dodge City's social media and you can see how they advanced to the national semifinals, and keep an eye on them there as well. So once again, Rochester NYFC, Soda City, that's at 6 o'clock Eastern time from Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh. Dodge City and Inland Empire, they get to wait. That is the 9 o'clock start, the late one for the matchup there. 2 days later, once again, national championship is going to be played on Sunday, August 11th. So as a part of your soccer viewing day tonight, if you are anywhere near a device where you can watch the UPSL National Semifinals and get ready for the national finals on the weekend, catch Jason on the call, and you can be up to date with everything that goes on in the UPSL. So that's a small part of the weekend. Once again, the EFL is back up and running, and you can catch that on Paramount Plus. You can catch all of the activity going on. Bronze medal matches going on right now. We can talk about it. We can't do play-by-play. You heard Bart do that. So you've got the gold medal match for the women this weekend. Once again, remember with the gold medal match, that's going to be on Big NBC as opposed to USA Network. Everything has shifted for that particular broadcast. Once again, reminder, Sunday night on the network, it is Atlanta United 2, Toronto FC 2, 7 o'clock pregame, 7:33 kick. Maddie Cruz and I will be at the Fraction for you with that one, and that one will be fun to see if Atlanta United 2 can get their win streak to 3 in a row in MLS Next Pro for them. And we do have a box-to-box coming up with Alan Carlton on the network coming up pretty soon. And it's a fun one. So you really will enjoy the conversation that was had in the box-to-box with Maddie and Alan Carlton, looking at the standings right now in the Eastern Conference going into this matchup. Toronto, Carolina Core, and Atlanta United 2, they're all within a point of each other. And it's 11, 12, and 13. So a win for Atlanta United 2 could go a long way in getting them into 11th place in the Eastern Conference. But at the same time, with the divisions and the way that they're stacked, Atlanta United 2 could move up into 5th in the Southeast, and they would be only a handful of points behind Orlando City B going into another stretch of matches where they have to accomplish things on the road. So it's a big match at the Fraction. If you can make it, please do. And we're looking forward to broadcasting that one on the network for you. If you cannot make it, once again, go to soccerdownhere.mixler.com, and you can find all the information that you need when it comes to everything involving Atlanta United and Atlanta United 2 and our high schools and our college. Our college coverage with Soccer's in Session is back, And we're going to be catching up with as many of the colleges in the state of Georgia as possible as they get ready for the summer fall season. And we're going to catch up with all the colleges, big and small, as we carry their way through. So it's another full week here at SDH. Thanks for dropping by. Let me see if I can remember all the guests. I can't. Let me grab my notebook real quick. I know that makes for great video. Let's see. So it was Abe Gordon, our friends from Coastal Outreach, as Coastal Outreach tonight has their gala in Brunswick as they turn 20. Tyler Pilgrim from Scarves and Spikes. Dylan Butler, the busiest man in the Northeast. Also, Nino and Nico, hour number 2, as it traditionally is on your Thursdays. Bart Keeler dropping by this morning, as well as our friends from Rochester NYFC getting you ready for the national semifinals in the UPSL. So busy week once again. Enjoy your weekend across the board. Enjoy all of your teams, all of your favorite play in the sport. And we'll be back at it again on Monday. We'll talk about gold medal matches. Bart will be joining us. Abe will be joining us on tape. So we'll be back to somewhat normal. And thanks for putting up with me in a hotel room in Columbus, Georgia. So since it is, I need to. So everybody go wish the Hoff a happy birthday. Go wish the Hoff a happy birthday because the man deserves to have a happy birthday. So that is definitely true. So reach out to the Hoff and wish him a happy birthday. Since it is a Friday, you know how we close things out on Friday. So enjoy your weekend, be safe, and we will catch up with you again on Monday here on SDH. Mucha plata, y'all. Here's your out. Enjoy.
War was on. The keys on the typewriter had sharp points that kept sticking into our fingers. The dictating equipment started asking us questions, and our beepers sent electric shocks just through our body like a cattle prod. Out in the warehouse, the trucks kept banging into the docks, not even thinking about stopping. Our frail bodies were strapped to the chairs, and our chairs were chained to the desks. Our pleas for justice were ignored, and the end seemed near. But we busted our slave drivers' little bitty balls. We've charged out of their brick fortress. The streets are ours. Be gone.